Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of Channel Your Light, Own Your Intuitive. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Erin Chandler. I'm an intuitive guide, psychic medium, healer, author, and teacher. If you wish to connect with me for a reading or to take some of the classes that are about to be unveiled and available for everyone to take part in and learn from, you can reach me on my website, www.erinchandler.com. And of course, you can find all the details and the links in the description box below. Hello, Miss Ava. Ava is joining us. So I am popping on here as always, because I love to, and I love to share information with current energy updates. I know that many of you have been feeling the enormous fatigue that's been happening for some of you. For some of you, it's like fire. For others of you, your missions or your purposes are becoming clearer. You're having more clarity. I'm being told to speak to, Ava says, a couple of subsets of souls just to touch base is what she's saying, touch base on a couple of concepts to help you move through this ascension process. You are morphing from one state of being into another. For those of you who have extreme fatigue, there are a multitude of things happening all at the same time. The first set of you, Ava saying, some of you, it's all three things are happening at the same time. Most of you don't realize the amount of work that you have been doing energetically, spiritually, mentally, and physically. When you move from one state of being to another, there is a new level of consciousness, which requires a new DNA activation. Not only is your thought process changed, you think new thoughts, but your body must respond accordingly. The fatigue that some of you are feeling is in direct relation and correlated to the healing process. We heal from the inside out. As within, so without. If our internal world from birth up until this state in time, including multiple past lives or parallel lives, time is an illusion, regardless of whether you place it as past, present, or future, or all at once. These are being manifested at the same time through our thought forms. As we move into the fifth dimensional consciousness, we raise the evolution of the planet and the frequencies increase and heighten. Many of you will experience periods of fatigue. One, your physical avatar is not used to the higher frequencies. You must attune to them. In addition, as your DNA is activated, upgraded, so is your thought forms and your actual physical atoms, molecules, and particles. When they begin to operate in a new way, the old must be phased out. It is much like the cord cutting. So when we have activations, what are we doing when we sleep? We are healing, we are holding, we are traveling, we are doing so many things in our sleep, but healing is healing is the predominant thing that most of the collective is experiencing. The extreme fatigue is healing from the lower dense frequencies that have been removed. Pay attention is what I am hearing. And those of you who are called to sleep, you are not doing it wrong. Sleep. If you find some of you are operating and aiding others in that sleep mode, for example, some of you are traveling to aid other souls and other beings. Some of you are aligning with your soul teams to prepare you for the next phase. On the earth plane, there will be much, it will appear like chaos. The higher your frequency, the better ability that you have to be above it and create the world that you wish to create, despite what is happening around you on the earth plane. This does not negate from or mean that you should ignore it or dismantle it. There are souls on here viewing this channel. Your soul contract is to help awaken and help others heal. That will look different. For some of you, it's as simple as being kind, sharing what you have with others, simply speaking words of wisdom. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. That's the song that I'm hearing. Some of you are just called to speak a word of wisdom and let it be in the ethers and the consciousness. Those of you who are extremely fatigued, you are literally healing from an entire way of being. This is thought forms. This is your physical body, your energetic body, and your spiritual nature, energy, soul blueprint, all of those different things. This is exhausting. For example, we get a normal amount of sleep in order to operate on an even keel on a daily basis. When we are healing, we need an excess of sleep so that we, yes, can maintain that frequency on the daily basis, but we also need that extra sleeping energy or downtime or rest to aid in the healing process. Otherwise, we don't heal and we just become dragged out, burnt out. The focus must be on the self at this time, not necessarily about going out and helping others. That is for some of you. You will know if this is you. I'm being told to talk about, some of you may have experienced weird, sudden physical ailments, hurts, sprains, breakages, things that were unexpected, people getting sick. It's like forcing you to sit down is what Ava is saying. Some of you, we are forcing you to sit down, to literally heal. It's like at the Geisha, one of you, I'm seeing honey being poured within your whole body. Beautiful, sweet honeysuckles. Honeysuckles is a validation for somebody on here, but honey is healing and antimicrobial and antibacterial and is antibiotic. I'm not sure why Ava is referencing this. At the Geisha, I have THOTH. A new way of being requires new forms of healing ailments to the point that there is no more disease because there is no more dis-ease. A disease can only occur when there is energetic residue or compression that is associated with thoughts, patterns, beliefs, memories, or being unable to accept the current present moment. There is somebody who says, I'm being told to speak about this on here. I did write it in the channel in case some of you missed that on my website. In the blog section or the divine channel section. But some of the things that usually come through with these, it's been coming through for quite some time. There is somebody, and I don't know who it was, that had said that he who controls the present moment or is in the present moment is able to control the past. So I want to start here because the next section of it is he who controls the future controls the present moment. So I'm being told to break this down, and perhaps not in the way that whoever stated that or said that intended, but I'm rolling with spirit because, listen, I have not gotten this far without spirit. It's because I listen to spirit. It's because I follow the divine detours. It's because I follow the information, and I'm willing to trust enough to surrender into the healing. This game-changing month, July, that's what Ava said on the 777 portal. This month is a game changer. You are stepping into roles and into new way of beings, which means we need to purge out anything that is not in alignment with that. You ask for something more, you ask for something different, you ask for answers, you ask for truth. You must be prepared to willingly surrender, a willing release of the old. That's the old way of thinking. Spirit is wishing to dawn a new perspective. Every new perspective or moment that you have means your physical avatar, your DNA will respond differently based on the new awarenesses, the new lenses, or your original spirit lenses is is the ultimate goal, is what I'm hearing, is to be one with the self and one with all, the one infinite creator. Eva says, talk about the Mahat channel. The channel that I did previously, if you have not watched it, please go back. I'll link it at the end of this video here. It was a session with Mahat. That was a very unexpected channel. That is not at all what I had sat down and intended to connect into. The different people who watched that channel will view it as different things, or whether it was related to Egyptian pantheons and all of these different things. However, it was very clear and it was very concise. I will be doing, apparently, I will be doing a number of sessions with Mahat. Mahat is not necessarily what some of the comments on the YouTube video is in reference to. However, it can be, because it is the cosmic intelligence. It's like taking all of consciousness, the past, the present, and the future, really all in the present moment, and being able to channel through all of the consciousness that have played a part in the role in the Earth's evolution, including all of the starseed consciousness, cosmos. It is Mahat, M-A-H-A-T, very specifically, and completed right there. So I will be continuing to do those sessions. Apparently, I will be sitting down for more. I needed an acclimation after connecting with that energy as part of my purpose. I needed to align. I needed to have transformation, I want to say. The other thing I'm being told to tell some of you who have extreme fatigue, some of you are having that fatigue because you are helping other souls either in the astral planes or preparing for the next phase of your journey. You are not doing it wrong. Some of you will attune this to solar flashes or the frequency changing or the electromagnetic field changing. All of those things play a part. Everything is changing. This is why on the earth plane, you are seeing floods and volcanoes and all of these other things. Your fatigue is not you doing it wrong. Those of you who feel frustration, this is a barrier of stagnant energy that you are being asked to move through. The only way to move through this at this time, because you are jumping a level, jumping a timeline, moving into a new frequency and a new way of being, which means a new timeline. And each of you, this will be slightly different because you're all choosing your timelines. You must break through this barrier. Those of you who are feeling frustrated or feel like you have been having emotions pulled up and out of you from old, perhaps past lives, these are all intended for you to see them clearly, to illuminate what it is. Why am I stopping? Why am I stuck here? What am I asking for? What is not in aligned with where I want to be and what my thought process is right now? All of these things are going to become in your face, illuminated. No one is untouched by this time frame, my friends. We have forgotten that in the Great Awakening, what happens after we awaken? There is the Great Purge. And what happens after the purge? There comes the Great Balance. There are different leaders, individuals, teachers who are set up to allow those coming into the balance to find it, to set the scales of balance in order to anchor at this time as a majority of the collective consciousness moves through this. The Great Purge, if you are feeling intense emotions, extreme fatigue, if you feel like you've had some kind of a physical ailment that you weren't expecting, or you got sick or something to that effect, I need you to trust that that's you being asked to take care of the self, because you are literally purging, realigning, and removing different things from your experience. This is programming, social conditioning. This can be dark energies that have been attached to you, not just from this life, but from multiple lives. I'm being told to talk about past lives. This is very important, says Ava. You will have different pieces and portions, rememberings of things that may not make logical sense, but it will attune to different people. There are many subsets of souls who will not be incarnating on the earth plane after this lifetime. This is their culmination period. The culmination period is an okay, so they're saying for the souls who are not going to be incarnating again on the earth plane, you have done this many times. It is done. This is what you're here for. Completion off the karmic wheel, moving into the ascension process. The more of us that do this, the easier it is for the Earth's collective consciousness to also rise. That's why the focus is to be on the self. For those of you who are feeling the fatigue, going through transformation, maybe you're feeling lost, you're actually finding yourself. You are finding the it's like all of the things are being disconnected and you're being reconnected back into the divine. I'm seeing it like gold veins coming down into the brain, the stem, the core, the Christed, anointed, down the spine and back up with the Kundalini, all of those things. So it's like you're being unplugged from the matrix, or you're being unplugged from the conditioning and the thought patterns. Once we get unplugged, we have this period of time or this understanding where things are not what I thought they were. Things are different. The grandfather clock is going right now. That warms my heart to know this. My grandfather is here now. The clock will ring 7 times in Erin's time. It is 7 p.m. 7 dings. 777 is the quantum leap portal. Those of you in the present moment, your focus on the present moment allows you to control the past, which means to see it clearly and heal it. This ability to control the past means you have the control to see it, identify it, understand it, and heal it. My grandfather says, oh my God, I have both sets of my grandparents here now. They are saying this: we skip generations. It is through a grandparent and a grandchild that in the middle, the grandchild sees in the middle the repercussions or the outcome of the grandparents' parenting and the eras and jumping. It jumps. Every generation jumps for healing. This is a very important aspect because all of you at this time who are moving through this phase, this portal, healing from the present moment, because you control the past, you control what you allow to control you. And when you control the past no longer controls you because you have the opportunity to stand in the present moment and heal those things. All of your grand ancestors all stand with you and walk with you to do this process, regardless of what you have felt it looked like, how dark and dense it was. You are the generational curse breakers. This is the final lineage breakage of this. It ends with you. The reason why this aspect has been difficult and most of you are feeling such intensity is as the earth splits from 3rd dimensional to 5th dimensional, there is a bridge, linking one level of consciousness to the other. There are those who are holding information, holding the frequency of the bridge. There are those who stand at the cusp of the 3rd dimensional consciousness in that area before you get onto the bridge, who are cutting chains so that those can actually walk onto the bridge and do the work and do the healing and do the holding, because that's what we're doing. All of your grandparents, all of your ancestors, the ones you don't remember, they are all lined up helping each and every one of you do this. Not only that, you have your star ancestors, consciousness, all attending you all the time. Love lights, the Galactic Federation of Light, and the Planetary Commission. As we move through this next phase, remember, reminder, you cannot leave anyone behind. Everyone evolves at a certain state or a certain point. It is not for everyone to evolve or to drag people with you. It is for you to own and have responsibility in the present moment for healing your past and reminding you that all other souls on the planet in the collective consciousness at this time also have angels, also have ancestors. It is not for us to judge another's journey. It is to speaking words of wisdom, let it be. It is to speak your words of wisdom and allow people to be where they are. Some of them have soul contracts that we are not aware of in the logical 3D mind. Focus on this. There's somebody on here who has a frustration that someone is not understanding or seeing. You can let this go. The moment you do, it's like you float up on a hot air balloon. You are not leaving them behind. It does not mean you love them any less. It means there is something that they need to do in order to step forward. Their greatest empowerment is to not be taken by you. Their greatest empowerment is to step up and begin to take the steps of themselves, to recognize the power and the divinity in themselves, just as you did. There are many dark nights of the souls that are going to happen through the remainder of this year and into 2024. Some of these will be brought on by death, by mass catastrophes. I am not the only intuitive who's been saying this for years now. This is coming, and it has already begun, is what I also wish to tell you. The shift has already begun. For some of you, you are already on the other side of this, at the other side in the 5th dimensional consciousness, saying, hey, we're over here. And you are just being called to stand and speak your truth. And those that are crossing the bridge, They're waiting for you to stand because they're crossing the bridge. Don't forget to stand. That's for one subset. Come back to the present moment. Those of you already moved into the 5th dimensional consciousness and 6th dimension, all the other dimensions, because we utilize them all the time. You don't get to one and there's no other. We utilize and ping between all of them all the time. So I'm being told to go back to the present moment. So if you are in the present moment, that gives you control over your past. Now, we want to, he who controls the future controls the present moment. So if you understand in this earth plane, on this collective consciousness, that somebody else is controlling the future, which means if they're controlling the future in the present moment, they're going to take you to the past, so you continue in the cycle of the trauma of the past, and you never master the present moment, ever, because you're in the cycle of social conditioning. You believe what you are told and are shared with. You are told not to think outside the box. You are conditioned to look at everything and every distraction there is in the book. At least it is in the country that I live in, Westernized society, so that you do not see the present moment. Because if you take a breath, rest, heal, clear your mind, and just start to think, just be, the divine just starts dropping in, easy peasy. It's the receiving. You cannot receive if you are continually plugged into the cycles, the trauma, the conditioning, and the distractions, and the mind control. These are all things that are very real. We have been taught that they are not real, so that we never move into our present moment. This is changing. This is part of the Great Awakening. However, when we get unplugged, there is a massive purging that happens. It happens on a personal level. It happens on a collective level. Anything that you do personally touches and affects the collective. That is why I'm being told, love lights, do not be afraid to continue on your path, even though there are others that won't. Whatever you do for you positively then impacts the collective consciousness. You may not see this, you may not know this, the interconnectedness of all things. For example, one of the women in our community, she gave money to a homeless person. She felt that that was where her funds were best utilized to give him food, sustenance. What she does not know is that man went over to get food and was offered a quick under the table cash job to do something that then led to another step and another step and another step. You cannot leave people behind. Oftentimes, we're looking for them to go here. But what the actual process in the network of souls and the agreements that we have is you will take one step and do what you need to do in the moment. It might be giving a smile. It might be sending a kind message to someone out of nowhere. What you do not see is the actual outcome and ripple effect of that one simple act. We often think that when we do an action, they should come along, they should understand, you should see the outcome of it. Like, I should see my good karma right here and right now. You do see your good karma, but it's not necessarily in the physical 3D form, and there is a lag time. Go back to the present moment and controlling the future. If you control the future, you can only control your future. This is what we're going for, is what I'm hearing. Being in the present moment, once you have healed all this past and you have taken control of the past so that it is no longer streaming through into the future, there's no longer the transference that most of us experience that is mastered in the present moment, mastering the past. Once we do this, we become acclimated, we feel whole and empowered, and we then make choices based on the future that we wish to see. This is he who controls the future, controls the present moment. Now, I view this, or Spirit has given this to me, when we're controlling the future, we have to do it from the present moment. So the statement is, he who controls the future controls the present moment, and he who controls the present moment controls the past. But if I'm in the present moment, you'll notice they're both connected to the present moment, right here, right now, if this is all there is. This means that in this present moment, I first take control of healing the past that is negatively impacting me, holding me down, has a conditioned response, thought process, DNA, way of being. When I heal this, I'm still here in the present moment. I then get to control the future by making certain choices based on the future that I want. So he who controls the future controls the present moment. It's always back to the present moment. This is extremely important because in Western society, where I live, most people are not in the present moment. Most people are in the cycles of trauma and thought patterns on autopilot, completely connected, and there is nothing else. Now, that is changing and part of the Great Awakening. I wish to say that the US is included in this. Let me tell you, says Ellen. She's pointing her finger on my face. So she is giving me a let me tell you, and that is part of the Great Awakening. This also affects the superpowers of the world. The statements of he who controls the future controls the present moment is true of superpowers who attempt to control the future by limiting the information that is given out to the public, by hiding in secrecy different things in the darkness. When we move into the present moment, we come into personal empowerment and control. It is a process. It is not a one and done. It is a continual cultivation of a state of being because it is in the present moment. This does not mean you do not dream. This does not mean you do not remember past lives. Those of you who are at your culmination point, this has been difficult, not because just this life. Some of you packed in all the hard stuff in this life. I want to be clear. Like sometimes when I see the soul journey of people on this life, I'm like, whoa, you packed in everything. We are blowing through barriers. This month is a game changer because you're going to see it clearly and blow right through it. You are going to blast through it, becoming into a new state of being. The last 6 months, for some of you, the last 2 years, for some of you, the last 10 years, has been preparing you for this. It is not an easy feat to just be like, oh yeah, it's done. You can do that once you've been in the present moment, or you're a master, or all those things. But even then, maybe they have struggles. I don't know. What I do know is this. Some of you chose a lot of difficult things, not because it was a punishment. You chose those things because you are culminating. You are cutting off all loose ends. You are taking the present moment to control the past by healing it and no longer letting the stains of it, the conditioning of it that tamps down for you. This means our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren will not have those things to break. There is a purpose to the dark and the light, but I wish to attune to this. Love lights. There is a massive amount of souls, subsets of souls who are transcending this. This is why they're here. This is also why they're here for the Great Awakening. Never has so many souls on a planet at the same time been awakened, but you will go through the Great Purge. Each of you will experience this differently depending on your journey, the amount of personal work you have done, and there is no wrong way to do it. So do not compare yourself from one person to another. Purge. If you have emotions, feel them, let them out. You're not doing it wrong. If you are tired, rest, sleep. You're not doing it wrong. Okay. If you are having all of these wild, incredible, this is another subset of souls, wild, incredible, amazing spiritual experiences where you're feeling like home, you're seeing the rapidness and the quickness and all of those things. Maybe you are remembering past lives. You are elevating to a new level. Jump in, grasshopper, take a leap of faith, go there. That is what you came for. That's where you were meant to go. You are already more than halfway across the bridge, says Ava. Do not stop, do not look back, keep going till you hit go. That's what I want to say to that. There are pawns on the chess game, says Florence. If you look at the game of chess has 2 rows of pawns. This is important for a number of reasons. Pawns are used. There are many of those on the earth plane who are pawns, if not the majority. However, this has been changing. The kings and the queens are awakening, have awakened, including the bishops and the knights. The game is changing. It is no longer a game where nobody will know the rules, therefore are destined to lose the game. This is why The Great Awakening is recognizing the game. Most of you who understand the game are then able to play and succeed and win and overcome, climb the mountain and move on to the next one, reaching mountaintops and peaks. But if you do not know how the game works, if you were not told how it works, the rules and regulations were omitted, how are you ever going to succeed? The struggle is much more intense and difficult. Most of you don't realize that as you have been healing these cycles of trauma, you have not just been bearing the burden of your own issues or darkness or struggles. You are bearing these struggles and all of those things of another energy that you are not aware of, that we were not taught about, because that's part of the rules of the game. And if you knew that rule, well, you'd easily blow through it and figure it out. That's also part of the dark series, dark energy series, touching base on that and illuminating that for other people to be aware of, to empower you to blow through it, because all of us can and all of us will at some point. So all of these things are happening at the same time. The earth plane is changing. There's unsettledness. The financial systems, they are changing. They are going to do an about face, is what I want to say. There are many things that come out in terms of disclosures. There are many things that we suddenly come to understand, that we have the ability and capacity to heal ourselves, to live our best lives, to create the best things in the world, to be in abundance, to be in joy and have love. Does this mean there are not things that happen in our lives where we have sorrow and we have grief and we feel like we have lost? Yes, but those things exist because we are attached to a belief that says it should be the opposite 9 times out of 10. It is still a process. That's a whole other mouthful, a whole other channel, a whole other teaching. I just really wish to focus on this. I was told to pop on here that it was important before I put out the dark series that I acknowledge the energy that's going on right now and what a lot of people are going through. You are taking back your power and doing things in a new way. It is unsettling. You may feel fatigue. You may feel a lot of emotion coming up. Let it up and out. I also wish to touch on, don't forget past lives. That's my grandfather and my grandmother, June. She says, do not forget past lives. These are important. Those of you who are planning to this be your last incarnation, you are actually culminating past lives and this present life. Those of you who are doing this, you have actually come into contact, whether you are consciously or unconsciously aware of it, with multiple people that you have had experiences with in past lives that perhaps did not get healed. This is the lifetime we heal them. For some of you, you have wondered why you have been to multiple places. Ava and the ASHTAR command wish to answer this question or query for you. ASHTAR says, many of you will have wondered why you have been in certain places or feel deeply connected to certain people, only to have the outcome of the experience not be a positive one, or appears to be negative. This is actually the healing of the drawing forward of past lives to be healed in this life, in the present moment, so that they are no longer carried forwards. When we move through the ascension process and when our consciousness evolves on an individual level, all of the things in the past must be healed, culminated, and completed. This is getting off the wheel of karma and moving into your dharma, into a creative creator of your own world. The past lives, if you are remembering these and there are experiences that you do not understand why, these are largely related and linked to past life experiences, healings, things like that. Some of you are playing out or paying karma from those lives, whether it is paying karma because there was a negative action or whether it is a positive, right? It's both and at this time. So some of you will be like, but I'm doing all these good things and why aren't all these good things happening to you? So there's a lot of things, components that go into that. Some of that's actually in the dark energy series, but there's also the piece of these are also residuals from our other lives. Like I know me personally, because I remember so many of them, I know that I'm in contract to some people and I'm service to them because I owe them that. I say I owe them loosely because that's not the way that I want to describe it. That implies something very different rather than the way that this is being delivered to me, or the context of it. I know that I'm in service to people to make right something that I did not make right in another life. I know this. I am okay with that. I feel that it's very important because I want them to have the change released from them and me at the same time. We cannot ascend to a fifth dimensional consciousness if we are still in the realms of the 3D, playing out the karma and the errors and omissions of past lives. Not only errors and omissions, but also any actions that we have taken that are in alignment or are not in alignment. Those are all being healed all at the same time. So past lives are important. If you remember them, if there are things that come in, if there are people that you just feel drawn to and it's like this craziness and then it ends and then it's gone, that's actually you healing something with them. You're both being broken free of the chains or healing or learning the ultimate lesson. Some of you are experiencing people who have shown up who reiterate the original lesson or major lesson that you are learning. Some of you have multiple major lessons, and some of you have one major and a couple of minor. Some of you have dual missions. This will be in an upcoming video about dual missions, starseeds and light workers who have dual missions. So if we go back to this whole past life concept, some of you are experiencing things, re-experiencing it through different people. It looks like a different person, a different circumstance, but it's the same wound or the same lesson that you're healing. Right now, you are going to likely feel that come up intensely for some of you because it's actually pulling it up and out of you. You can't pull something up and out of you if it's not in you. You can't trigger a wound if there is no wound to trigger. This is the point. We are holding. This is part of the ascension process. Moving into fifth dimensional consciousness does not mean you don't experience things and you're not still learning, because we're always learning. Good Lord, the eternal infinite. It's kind of exciting when you think about it. But learning those lessons and having it come up, moving into that fifth dimensional consciousness, this piece right here that you've struggled with on the 3D earth plane, we want to finish this. This is the time we're finishing it. And this is for a specific subset of souls. It's not everybody. It's definitely not everybody, my friends. But for those of you that this is for, you are going to know this. You did not come here to try and do the lesson and not complete it. You came here to do this. You came here to complete it, no matter what. And that no matter what is the reason why you have such a large team, or your ascension process has looked the way it has. A love lights, each of you will slightly, or not slightly, slightly be attuned to this. Some of you have great knowings about this already. Some of you are just coming into these knowings or seeing these things clearly. It may just be a gentle flash of insight. It may float in and it may float out. Some of you, it will be, Ava says, Mom, it's going to be like some of you are smack in the face. The Galactic Federation of Light is saying love light, but it's really to illuminate it. It's not a smack in the face. That's an Erin and Ava 3D term. That's an Erin and Ava 3D term. So it's almost like the Galactic Federation of Light says, love light. You will be shown it so clearly that it cannot be denied. That is what Erin and Ava are referencing in a regular 3D term for most of you to understand. But it is in the point that it will be illuminated to such clarity that you will need to decide to move forwards. The clarity and illumination is actually the driving factor or the catalyst for you to continue to move forward on ascension. We cannot move forward when we do not see clearly. That means we are manifesting or stuck in the mud, or one foot on the gas pedal and one foot on the brake. We are moving forward from this. Those of you that this message is for will attune to this and know this. Claim this in the comments, my friends, if that's yours. Yes, I am ascending. Yes, I am moving. Yes, I am blowing through every last barrier that there is. Yes, I am going to create my own world. I control my future from the present moment because I have healed my path. I am whole. Ava says, most of you are purging emotions. There are some subsets of souls here who are acutely sensitive. Part of their role is feeling the emotional impact of the collective consciousness and the past. all of the residue and denseness that has been coming in. This is in order to disperse it. Those of you who are acutely sensitive to emotions, it's important that you understand this aspect of this. You are dispersing that emotional energy that has been condensed, locked, encased on the earthly plane in the collective consciousness. That lineage, that damage, those generational curses end with you. And you have a lot of help to do it. So don't give up. That's a song I'm hearing now. So don't give up. You are, because you're almost there, because you're almost there. I know a lot of you are fatigued and tired. You're also feeling like something imminent is going to happen. Some of you have felt this for many years. If you're like me, I've felt this for quite some time. There's something imminent that is coming, and it changes everything for everyone, whether it is in the collective consciousness, on Gaia's plane. It's this and that. It's all things. July is a game changer because you are now mastering your own ship or beginning to take the journey of doing that. I am seeing the Sacred Fool card. You are the Sacred Fool. You came here to do things differently. You came here because you are one of the people who are going to operate in a fifth dimensional consciousness way of being. And that is different from the earth plane that we have been incarnating on. That is very 3D. It is the matrix. It has very specific lessons. It has very specific rules and regulations. And most of us don't know the rules. And that's half the issue, if you were to ask me, among multiple other things. That's part of the issue. Who plays a game and doesn't know the rules of the game? Some of us say we come here and we forget who we are in order to learn the lessons. While that is true, we are doing something differently, love lights. This is different. This is the Great Awakening. With the Great Awakening, most of the collective forgot to mention, as we awaken and unplug, there is a great purging, purging of the coding, purging of the implants, purging of the thought forms. For most of you who have attempted to do positive affirmations, changing your life with your thoughts, this is true. Your thoughts create your world. This is why you must control your present moment or be in the present moment. This is why you must start to hold and heal the past and already are or already have. This is because thoughts create worlds. You do not wish to create that world over and over and over again. This is why history repeats itself. The majority of the collective consciousness on the earth plane is simply redoing these same cycles and these same traumas. The Great Awakening is awakening to these aspects and these things in order to heal them and hold them. This is why it will feel like chaos. The Great Awakening then happens the Great Purge. The Great Purge is often chaos. Sometimes we have dark nights of the soul through these catastrophic events. That is true. Esta Ana reminder, we do not die. We are eternal beings, spirit as one. We go back to where we came from. We do not die. This is simply an avatar in an earth school, however you wish to look at it, learning lessons, having the privilege to be here in a body. Some of you are part of the waves of volunteers. Some of you are not a volunteer. Some of you are here with very specific old contracts. You will know if this message is for you. These old contracts, it is time to ignite them and step into those roles. These contracts are to aid people on that process of the Great Awakening, purging, or balancing. There are those of you who have contracts to awaken others. There are those of you who have contracts to help others purge and move beyond that. There is another subset of souls on the earth plane who their contract is to hold the balance as people come into needing the balance, teaching, all of those things. Every role is important. This is the purpose of channeling Mahat, to see all the roles, how they will interconnect and interplay for the outcome. According to the divine plan is what I am hearing. But that's going to be in the other sessions. So I'm curious to know, how have you guys been feeling? Like, do you feel that fatigueness? I know that I go through periods for me. I know when I'm transforming, I got to take a few days away from YouTube. I have to take a step back and just solely focus on me. Sometimes I have to sleep a lot. Sometimes I know I just need to be. And I make a point of taking the time to do those things because I can't serve people and be at my best if I'm not taking care of myself and making sure that I'm at my best, making sure that I've done what I needed to do, or if I'm moving through a transformation, that I take the time to move through it, that I take the time to purge. Every time I awaken to something new, there is a slight purging that happens in order for me to move about in a different way. This is part of what we're experiencing right now, and each of you are on different, I want to say, levels. Some of you are on level 3 and some of you are on level 10, and some of you are back there being like, I'm remembering this stuff about the past. And you're remembering those things because that's the thought form or the track that you're being shown. You're being shown to recall. We are asking you to recall certain things from the past that sit in your energy associated with certain thought forms that create a certain trajectory or create a world. That is why you are being asked to recall them, or they're being dropped in for you, is what I'm hearing from spirit. They're being dropped in for you. I've been sitting here a while. This is a long channel. I'm getting uncomfortable. So to close this out, because this is a lot of information, friends. We're all going through a lot. And I also want to say that what we see in our everyday 3D world and 3D life and the experiences that we go through, we're often doing many, many more things than that at the same time. You have to have compassion for yourself. Rest when you feel called to rest. Truly, if you need to take a time out, take a time out. Like your body's telling you, if you have an illness or an ailment, or you sprained something or broke something or gotten sick, take that time. You need that time. That's why that's happening right now. And side note, some of you, it's because there is a compression of energy. Love light. Those of you who have had a physical ailment or a physical repercussion through this ascension period and this great purging, that is because that is asking you to sit down and heal. The area of the body that is associated with is intrinsically tied to compressed emotions of negative aspects, negative thought forms from the past. You are healing that. The only way to heal is if you purge it. That is why some of you have experienced that. With this knowing, please acknowledge, in order to acclimate into the new state of being that no longer has that in your avatar, in your thought forms, or your emotional bodies, etheric bodies, your subtle energy bodies, all of those different things. Lean in, friends. Lean in and then surrender. If you don't know what to do and you don't know where to go, what do? Surrender, and then you're shown the way. Oftentimes we hit rock bottom. This earth plane, it's very clear. On the earth plane, most things collectively have to hit rock freaking bottom before there's a surrender. There's a breaking of the ego that's unbalanced. There's a breaking of things that do not work. That's where we break the chains when we can't get out of the chains. Surrender. Connect to your divinity. We're always looking for the answer outside of us. And the universe is always saying, dear hearts, love lights, it is right here. Everything you seek is right here. So go easy on yourself. Lean in. If you feel called to take action, take action. If you are exhausted, rest. If you need to tend to your physical body and heal, know that you're healing an entire version of you that you've been carrying around or walking around as. We need to remove these things. That's what's happening. You're okay. It's going to be okay. Do not fear all these new changes and differences. Yes, the world is changing. And yes, it's going to appear to not be pretty. But I will tell you, the most beautiful, incredible things sometimes are a direct result of the most chaotic, messy, and ugly experiences. In this aspect, Mahat, this means that there is no ugly, that the creator and the destroyer both pray and play an equal role of value at different points in times for the culmination. That too, the creator and destroyer with Mahat session is coming up on this channel as well. There's a lot coming up on this channel, friends, and places that I did not expect to go. The Dark Energy series, these channelings with Mahat, and these sessions, they're not really where I had anticipated this to go. However, I did set a very clear intention for this channel, that the whole purpose of me doing this was to share with those who were willing or needed to receive it, the information that they needed, which means I do need to slightly let go of where I think it should be going and allow the divine to co-create it with me, because those are the messages that we need at this time, is those different understandings about energy around us, particularly when the energy is going to get ramped up and intense through this purging. We need to be able to acclimate or have some kind of a mapping system or a place of refuge or some kind of a guidance system when we feel that our compass is off, and finding another space and place within ourselves as we purge and let go of more and more. Surrender is something that we're not all taught, and it's not a one and done. Again, it's not a one and done. It is a constant surrendering. I recently did a breathwork session with an incredible woman. In this session, what she described was every breath in is the yang. It is the action, breathing in life force energy. And the exhale is the yin. It is the letting go. It is the surrender. And we are constantly doing this all day long. And it is the yang and the yin balance, the inhale and the exhale, the night and the day, the light and the dark, the sun and the moon, the desert and the ocean. There's just so many ways to view that. Surrender is an important part of this. Receiving is an important part of this. But just as important as some of you are working on taking action, removing apathy, there's other subsets of souls that are working on the opposite, who all they do is take action and are working on the surrender. So just know that after this time period of you feeling fatigued, you're going to have a rush of energy. You're going to feel a lightness. Every time you have a period of fatigue and you move through it, or a purging, you will have a lightness that happens, a higher frequency, new thought forms coming into line, online. All of those different things are happening for you. That's the purpose of them. So yes, it's going to get better. Yes, you're going to have a lightness of energy. Yes, you're going to have more epiphanies. Yes, you're acclimating to a new level of consciousness, which is an entirely new way of being, state of being, all of it, mind, body, spirit, the whole nine. You're doing those things. So when I say rest, like if you're tired,